Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Pixelated Jamie 37. Thanks for the suggestion, Jamie. You asked, how does a computer's memory work? Computer memory. The magical place where your files hang out. Your browser tabs party all night, and somehow, nothing is ever where you left it. From RAM to ROM, and all the megabyte munching in between. Memory is what keeps your computer from turning into an expensive paperweight. So, grab your imaginary lab coat and your metaphorical magnifying glass as we crack open the digital brain and explore how a computer's memory works right here on Explaining Everything. Let's start with RAM, short for Random Access Memory. But don't let the fancy name fool you. RAM is like your computer's short-term memory. If that memory was super fast, mildly forgetful, and had a caffeine addiction. Whenever you open a program, let's say Photoshop, Chrome, and 37 tabs of Wikipedia, your computer says, "Hey RAM, hold all this." And RAM does, without complaint, until it gets overwhelmed and throws a digital tantrum. That's when your screen freezes and your cursor turns into the spinning wheel of doom, which is basically your computer saying, "Please stop. I'm full. No more tabs." RAM is temporary. Once you shut down your computer, it forgets everything. Just like you after a dream involving pizza, pirates, and a duck named Gary. So, why do we need it? Because accessing data from RAM is way faster than from your hard drive. It's like the difference between grabbing snacks off your desk versus driving to a gas station 10 miles away. Now, meet ROM, read-only memory. ROM is your computer's permanent memory. Unlike RAM, ROM is like that one organized friend who never forgets birthdays, backs up receipts, and somehow still has an email from 2003. ROM contains the firmware. Basically, it's the behind-the-scenes code that helps your computer boot up and remember what it's supposed to be. It's like a Backstage manager yelling, "Places everyone! Lights, camera, BIOS!" The data in ROM doesn't disappear when you turn the computer off. It just chills, sipping tea, waiting for the next startup like a British butler in a tracksuit. And yes, it's called read-only, because under normal circumstances, you can't just casually write to it. You can't store your vacation photos in ROM unless you're a tech wizard or have very boring vacations. Next up, cache memory. Sounds like a cool underground club, but it's actually your CPU's personal snack drawer. Cache is memory built right into the processor. It holds tiny bits of data the CPU uses often. Why? Because the CPU is impatient. It doesn't want to go all the way to RAM every time it needs something, so it keeps a stash of its favorite data close by. Imagine the CPU is working on a task and suddenly needs the same number again and again. Instead of asking RAM 50 times, it turns to its cache like, "Hey, got that number?" And cache is like, "Already on it, boss." There are different levels, L1, L2, L3 cache, because apparently memory has its own VIP section. The closer the cache is to the CPU, the faster it is. But there's also less of it. Like espresso, tiny, intense, and absolutely necessary when things get serious. Let's talk about where your memes, spreadsheets, and saved game files actually live. Your storage. Traditional hard drives, HDDs, are like grumpy librarians. They spin around, make noises, and take a second to find what you're asking for. Solid-state drives, SSDs, on the other hand, are like speedy assistants who already knew you were going to ask about that Word document from 2017. Unlike RAM, these are long-term memory. Turn off your computer. Your files stay put. Well, unless you delete them, in which case they vanish like your will to study after 9 p.m. SSDs don't have moving parts. That makes them faster, quieter, and more durable. They're basically the future, except they're already here and kind of expensive. But you can't put a price on storing 400 selfies of your cat wearing sunglasses, right? Now, what happens when you don't have enough RAM? Your computer fakes it. It creates virtual memory by using part of your storage drive as pretend RAM. It's like when your friend tells you they're fine during finals week while surrounded by empty coffee cups and broken dreams. Virtual memory helps you run more programs than your RAM can handle. But it's slower because it's using your SSD or hard drive instead of real memory. It's like asking a snail to fill in for a racehorse. Technically possible, but don't expect miracles. Your computer tries its best, though. It'll shuffle data between RAM and storage, swap things around like it's playing musical chairs, and just barely avoid collapsing under the weight of your browser history. It's a beautifully chaotic system of short-term recall, long-term storage, secret snack drawers, and emergency backup plans. RAM handles the quick stuff. ROM keeps the core instructions. Cache gives the CPU a speed boost. Storage keeps your files cozy for the long haul, and virtual memory steps in when things go sideways. It's like your computer has 5 different brains, all yelling at the same time, but somehow managing to get things done. So next time you click Save or open 43 tabs to research a single recipe, remember, your computer's memory is working overtime, sweating buckets, and still holding it together better than most of us during tax season. If you enjoyed this deep dive into digital memory, hit that like button, subscribe for more bite-sized brilliance, and don't forget, your browser history remembers everything. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.